All right. What's up, y'all? AWB, I'm back at it. Uh, I just wanted to talk about what just happened with Chille's case or Delete Law's channel, uh, or Delete Law. Um, if y'all know what happened with him being convicted and sent to jail for basically exercising his rights, which I didn't understand. And the way the judge handled the situation was insane as well. So I'll wait till a couple people jump in here, see what's going on. What's up, Blue? I'm doing pretty good right now, man. A lot better than I was doing a couple weeks ago. I can say that for sure. And a month ago, I wouldn't even be having this conversation. But yeah, y'all know that I did a live stream of Chille going through his trial, and it was just crazy to me how the judge handled that trial, and the biased reaction of that judge was insane to me. The fact that he was treated the way he was treated and was wild. I'm gonna go ahead and play that part. Play a video of that arrest and everything. Thank you, Lou, man. Yeah, man. A lot of people have been hitting me up and wondering, what was going on with me. And for the most part, everything was bad, honestly. I was in a real bad situation. Uh, so if you don't know, I crashed on the scooter and I went in a coma for a month, which is insane. Being in a coma for a month is insane within itself. I don't even know how I'm here today, honestly. But I don't know. I must be a strong person. Um, but I can't say that. All I can say is God was there for me, and God put things and people in my life to, help me out of that situation. Okay, so this is what this
that you were
he
pulled
went
over.
to jail.
Oh, I see.
What a tip.
Oh, I see. Oh, gotcha.
You can tell me you need to stay away from my driver. Back up. Back up, I'm going to detain you.
You're going to detain me how? In which way?
Instructing. Get away from my car.
Actually, I'm standing right here. I'm at least 10 feet away, officer. I got to tell you, I'm a constitutional law scholar. You can do whatever you want, but just understand something. Your name will go on the lawsuit. Mind your own fucking business. Mind your own business. I'm a member of the press. Go get in your car and do your.
As far as hospital bills go, I had to pay for it. That's pretty much it. I had to pay for it. Yeah, it's nothing like being in the US where I think if I didn't have people there and I wasn't able to pay for it, then I think I don't even want to say how that would have went, but
Job, little doggy.
Anyway, you have to pay, and you pretty much have to pay for your treatment and to be in a better room. when I first got there, I was in a bad space where they had all the public people because I went to a public hospital. But they had me in a bad space uh until a few people made it so I can get in a better room, in a better space.
Go feed her.
You're being detained right now.
Okay, then detain me.
Yeah, you're free.
Oh, she's free. Oh, you're gonna detain a journalist?
Yes.
2015, Rodriguez.
Come over my car.
Don't put your hands on me.
Come over.
Don't touch me. Don't put your fucking hands on me.
I'm gonna put my hands
No, you're not. I gotta make sure. Hey guys, make sure you guys get my people on the phone. Oh, this is so you ended the stop, you dunce cap. Did you just end the stop? So that's
Yes.
a 2015.
Come over here in my car.
No,
Come over here.
no.
In addition,
Yeah. So I don't know if you were there. I think you were there for the live I did of the court case and everything, and it was just amazing to me watching the judge handle and make a judgment on that case. And he was actually convicted of some BS, but eventually that was overcome. But let me keep playing it.
Bring your supervisor, please. Bring your supervisor, please. Don't touch
over
me.
to the car.
You don't get to put your hands on me. Don't grab me. Don't grab me. Listen, you're not. First get your supervisor out here. You're not just gonna grab me and throw me on the ground. You've already released her. You've already released her. This is 2015 Rodriguez versus United States. I'll walk right in front of your car. Let's go. Sure, come on.
You need to set the phone
There you
down.
go.
on
No,
the hood.
no. I'm a constitutional law scholar. You can't.
And this is saying that got him arrested. For one, he's following all the orders that this cop is giving him, and he doesn't even have to follow any of the orders that he's getting right now. You know, the stop is over. The person that he was stopping had already left. It was just about ego at this point.
You can't take away
Set
my
the
phone.
phone down on
I'm
the
in
hood.
fr- I'm now in
You're
fr-
being detained.
Please.
You're being
For
detained.
what?
Now you're going to put hands on me.
No,
Come over here.
Why are you grabbing me?
Come over here.
Sure.
Over here.
Let the phone roll.
I don't care about the phone.
Why are you grabbing
Turn
me?
around.
I'm a
Turn
member
around.
of the press.
Turn around.
I'm not doing anything.
You're being detained.
I'm not
right
doing
now.
anything.
Turn around.
Keep your
Stop.
Are your cameras on? Are your cameras on?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, then
Put
don't
your
put
hands
me
behind
in
your back.
No.
You're going in handcuffs.
Why?
Put your hands
Why?
behind your back.
Can you please slow down, get supervisor? I haven't done anything
No,
wrong.
put your hands
I
behind
haven't
your
done
back.
anything wrong.
Don't make me
If you want to detain me,
Yeah, so as you can see right in that video, that was the officer basically power tripping for no reason. And I just didn't understand what was going on in that entire situation, except that that cop he was having issues, and it was ego issues that he was having, where he thinks that any citizen that decides to do what they want can't if he tells them that they can't do it. And it made absolutely no sense. And for this judge here, like if you could see in this video, for this judge to convict him for that was absolutely insane. So hold on. Let me go to that video. She got mad at the moment. Yep. And that was the thing. It was that judge who everything was bad about what that judge decided to do. I just couldn't believe the actions of her, and that's why it was just so upsetting seeing that and watching it live with y'all. It was no reason that he should have been in that situation. But here in this video, and another video that I'm gonna show you in a second. Hold on, let me go back. Thanks, Lou. Hold on. If you can, this is the link right here. It's Buy Me a Coffee. And Patreon. So buy me a link and Patreon. Those are the two platforms I'm using right now. I'm going to be using Patreon a lot more now. I'm having issues with YouTube. For some reason, they demonetized my platform while I was hospitalized for some reason. I never had prior to my hospitalization, I didn't have an issue with YouTube. There was never anything, you know, it was not a problem. But let me just share this with y'all, man. It was just amazing. It was just wild to me that it was. Hold on, my fault, y'all. So this is the appeal that he had, and all charges was dismissed based on this appeal, and he has nothing on his record for this fail of justice. I don't know what they call it.
My name is Chille DeCastro. I'm a journalist. I've been wrongfully imprisoned in the Clark County Detention Center for almost 4 months. Today, I've been rightfully exonerated because I did not obstruct and I did not resist.
He was definitely wrongfully imprisoned in that situation. It was wrong for that judge to make that conviction and send him to jail for. What did she send him? She tried to send him in jail for like 6 months, which is insane. Imagine being sentenced to jail and you didn't do nothing. Literally didn't do nothing, and what you did was you were within your rights to do it. So it wasn't like you was committing a crime. You were actually acting. You were doing things well within your rights, and they decided to convict. And that judge decided to convict him and make him serve 6 months for.
We had a hearing today in front of the Honorable Judge Michelle Levitt. Michelle Levitt took a look at all the facts, read all the briefs, and then easily and quickly overturned my conviction on appeal, meaning I'll have no arrest record, I'll have no conviction record, it'll be completely wiped off my record entirely.
You are Christopher Orr on behalf of Mr. DeCastro. Did you want to sit down? No, you can sit down.
But you can sit down if you want. You don't have to stand up throughout the whole hearing.
So Chille's no longer in jail, and this is being wiped off his record. And it's just amazing to me that this is what it took for justice to really happen, and for us, we just gotta we got to fight for having our rights and having those rights respected. It's crazy that as soon as you do things that well within your rights, and they, because of egos and people's feelings, it switches up to them doing whatever they feel. You know, the lawsuit that's gonna follow this is gonna be insane.
Up to you.
I had shackles on my ankles, shackles on my wrist, had a waist chain around my belly. My nerves were popping and jerking, and I had all these feelings in my chest and in my heart. It was super intense.
And the thing was, I'm not even a fan I'm not a fan of Chille. I'm not like somebody who supports everything Chille does. And people were dropping comments, and they just had so much animosity built up against this man, like Chille. Like, I just didn't understand why do you have such an issue with him, especially when you know that what he was doing, he was well within his rights, and nothing happened on that scene. I just couldn't imagine. I couldn't see why people were acting the way they were acting or saying what they were saying, and they were so happy to see a citizen that didn't do anything wrong. They were so happy to see that citizen convicted and sent to jail for over 6 months for basically exercising his rights. It blew my mind to see that.
For me internally, and I was just listening to what my defense attorney was saying, what Chris Oram was saying.
The police officer testifies that this auditor approaches, says that he's a member of the press, identifies him immediately as a member of the press. I have video here. I also have exhibits. In click, they begin speaking about that officers, in that case, person's filming on Boston Common, filming from 10 feet away, 10 feet away. That's very relevant because the police officer in that case said Mr. DeCastro was 10 feet away. The First Circuit then goes on to talk about that officers sometimes retaliate because they don't like it. They don't like it. And they said that's what happened. The officers didn't like it. You don't film us. You have no right to film us. So what does Mr. DeCastro do? When the officer tells him, back up, I can prove he does. I've attached the exhibits. I don't, if the state wants to, I'll put it up and I'll show it. But we can see from Exhibit A that where Mr. DeCastro is standing, he's standing in a particular parking space. We can see in Exhibit B, he has now moved back. So the state, to continuously argue he would not back up. Why are they doing that? Because they want to say he won't follow the commands. What Click is deciding is not like this court deciding whether there's criminal activity. Click is suing the officers. And the officers are over in federal court saying, oh no, give us qualified immunity. And the federal court saying, no, not for this. You're not getting for arresting somebody who's filming. You're going to get sued. You're not getting qualified immunity. You're going to have to fight this and go to a jury. I think that's very relevant because that's what's going to happen with this officer.
The judge knows I backed up. She wants a deal, and there is no 21-foot rule.
The Wilson court determines that the only way you impede is that you have fighting words or you physically do it. I have no doubt, if you watch, I know you watched this video, and I can see how anybody could look at this and hear the speech, get in your car, little doggy, and write your ticket, and find that to be annoying. I see that. But that's protected, and we've been told that's protected now by our courts in Nevada, by numerous federal courts. And the state says something interesting, which I understand the state's advocating. The state says that the tribal council filed a memorandum. Well, I'm like, it was comical. I understand what the state's doing. Saying they need to try to protect their conviction. But the trial counsel, what he did is he filed some memo that right when the judge is making her decision, finding him guilty, she's like, what memo? And I found it. She didn't read, and then the state correctly, the state said, strike it. It's late. We should give you the opportunity to go look at it, and maybe my rendition of it is not the way you want to go. It's the state's rendition. But the fact of the matter is, at least you had it, and Judge Zimmerman did. And the police officer testified, well, the driver had a right to privacy.
So again, we're watching Chille's appeal for being sentenced to 6 months in prison or six months in jail for exercising his rights. It wasn't even the fact that he didn't commit a crime. It's the fact that he got sent to jail for exercising his rights. And we all need to see that and know that it's so important that we are doing things that are within our rights. That's why I wrote a book. And hold on, I'll go ahead and share that. But I just couldn't believe the way they treated Chille, and for a man to go to jail and be sentenced to jail for 6 months when he did everything within his rights, and he didn't do anything wrong, but a cop's ego is what caused him to go to jail, and which is insane. So this is the name of the book. It's Odds on Authority, how to hold public servants accountable, and that's basically what's going on right here. All you're doing is holding the authority or holding people accountable for doing their job. That's all they're supposed to do. They're supposed to do their job. So hold on, let me.
Drivers out in public. I don't know if the driver had a right to privacy. When you're out in public,
You don't have a right to it. And here's another thing, Judge. The state then comes back in their response. Mr. Chen always does an excellent job, and he hears on. And he cites a bunch of cases, every single case. It made me realize when I read it that they had real legal problems. They got problems with the law. Because what I did is I read every single one of the cases, and when I found out, this is not at all what these things stand for. Your Marshall showed incredible restraint. I know that because I watched her try to kick him in the groin. She tried to kick him, and I watched it happen. And I don't think she was arrested. At some point, they did everything they could to just get her out of here. She was so obnoxious and abusive to your Marshall. Yet the restraint shown was remarkable. Remember that? It was addressed with officer. How did you do that? To me, it was amazing that a human being could practice that type of restraint, and that's what he did. And that's what this officer should have done. Get in your car, little doggy, and write the ticket. First of all, he's telling him to write the ticket. He's not instructing him. He's just, it's like a directive. Counsel, be quiet and sit down. It's a directive, but you're not instructing me from being quiet and sitting down. He's telling him to do it. And so I don't understand how the state can argue when I can see it for myself that the officer was concerned for officer safety. When he says that, when Mr. DeCastro says it, you can see the officer just gets irritated beyond that. You don't say that to me. He just comes at him. He doesn't pull a taser or anything like that. He's like, you're detained. And he grabs him pretty hard. And he's trying to say, well, I'm a member of the press. I'm a member of the press. You can't do this to me. He doesn't call you supervisor. Don't do this to me. And he's like, he brings out 2 cell phones. So he's not armed. You know what he is. And even the officer said, you know about First Amendment auditors, but didn't say that they shoot people. Because he was asked that. He goes, I don't know if I said that. You know he was agitated. This wasn't about fear. This was about shoot people. You can see it's obvious. This officer was agitated. And the federal courts talk about that. He didn't stop anything. He didn't grab the officer. He backed off from the officer. Yes, maybe annoying. Yes, maybe provocative. But it is not obstruction. It's not resisting. These are trumped up charges. And that's what the cases show. They can't show you a case. Not a single case could they rely on to show this is obstruction or resistance. Not once. And in fact, like I said, I think trial counsel should have presented it to the judge beforehand. Then the judge could make the correct decision without even a trial. I think if the court had seen it beforehand and not having been so agitated by calling the marshal a name, that the court could have ruled that this is clearly protected First Amendment speech.
He read all the cases that the DA presented as facts against me and said these cases actually work in your favor. He was completely prepared, and he would come forward and then kind of drop his voice back down and humbly and meekly then again present the argument. Back and forth he went, and he had notes in front of him. He never stammered.
First, I'd like to thank Mr. Oram. Considering that our response was called comical, I appreciate the nice words from him today. Regarding first and foremost with the ineffective assistance of counsel claim, even if counsel could have done it, we're still focusing on the prejudice problem. Ultimately, we're here, and this is the appellate court for this matter, so this court's going to make a matter of law decision. So I think ultimately everything regarding that issue gets resolved on a prejudice problem, whether or not Judge Zimmerman was surprised at the information that he was before today. Now, with regard specifically to the First Amendment claim, Mr. Oram mentions that we cite to a number of cases, and the cases factually don't support our position, and I think we recognize that in our brief. There are cases where police officers have stopped individuals from filming encounters that they absolutely had a lawful right to do. This is why the court consistently talks about time, place, and manner restrictions. We don't doubt that that's the case, but to suggest that we didn't read those cases, I think is an unfair characterization, because what we're trying to focus on is whether.
And it's amazing how the DA is making an argument for sending somebody to jail for exercising their rights, knowing full well that the person didn't do anything wrong except hurt the cop's feelings and damage his ego. That's the only thing that really he's in jail right now for. He basically hurt a cop's feelings and damaged his and bruised his ego, and he had to serve, or he was convicted to spend 6 months in jail for that, knowing full well that that's not what happened.
The time, place, and manner restrictions were present in this case. Now, I agree, privacy is not a thing necessarily in public, which is how we didn't argue it. However,
so privacy is not a thing in public, and so the only thing that Chille was doing out there was filming. That's the only thing that he was doing. He was outside in public filming.
there are other concerns for time, place, and manner regarding safety of everybody involved, including the fact that when the officer's writing a ticket, when the officer's communicating with this lady who's been pulled over.
So he's saying the only time that that matters is when the officer was communicating with the person in the car or dealing with them. Everything was over when this cop decided to start talking to Chille. In fact, when Chille was talking to the lady in the car, the officer told him, he basically told him, don't talk to her. And Chille did. He stopped at that point. He stopped communicating with the woman. And from that point on, the officer told Chille to back up, or what he told him to back up or something. And Chille actually took a few steps back and backed up. But when he backed up, the officer told him he needed to back. In court, the officer changed up his story. He said he asked him to back up, and then he tried to make it seem like Chille didn't back up when he said back up, but then he switched it up and he said Chille did actually back up, but it was only a couple steps, or there was no clear definition of anything. If y'all saw that trial, y'all know that the officer it was a whole bunch of BS coming from the officer, and for the judge to make a conviction based on that, which is insane. He's an extremely unlikable person. Are you talking about Chille, or are you talking about the officer? Brady.
Over when that lady is sitting in her car and not free to move because she's subject to a traffic stop, that the scene needs to be secure. The key part where the obstruction begins to occur is when the officer asks him to back away from the driver. He said, well, I'm a filmer. Great, you can film, but I need you to back up. And again, we're quibbling over how much the backup was, but he backed up a couple of feet. There's no question about that. But
even then, I can agree with you, or even if we're going based on Chille's he's a very unlikable person. The thing wasn't the fact that his whole trial wasn't based on me liking him or disliking him. The whole thing was the judge didn't act like a judge should. The judge didn't make a judgment on this case the way she should have made it. And the officer on this case did not act like an officer is supposed to act. And just because you don't like someone doesn't mean they should serve 6 months in jail just because you don't like the way they acted or you just don't like them. You know, it shouldn't be based on that. It should be based on actual things. Like if Chille actually did something wrong, then I can see. But he didn't do anything wrong in that situation.
I think what the officer testified to was he wanted it a further distance based upon, in large part, how Mr. DeCastro was operating. And rather than backing up further, he stood his ground and said, no, I'm relying upon a fictional 10 feet rule, which I don't think is a matter of law. I don't think the First Amendment says 10 feet is automatically permissible because you can do a lot of things.
There are courts that have held 10 feet is sufficient.
Depending on what the situation is, all right?
I agree.
If I pull out a gun, is 10 feet still sufficient? We're an open carry state, for instance, so there are individuals who can carry guns. So if we were to say automatically that I'm 10 feet away, and as a matter of law, that's sufficient, I think it's very different if the individual is doing certain things. The individual has a grenade in their hand.
We don't know if he's going to pull out a gun or pull out a grenade. What the flock are you talking about, Chen? What are you talking about, dude? If someone wants to do something that's horrible and illegal and sinful and murderous, they don't walk up with a camera and film and say, I'm a First Amendment auditor, I'm a member of the press. They go up behind the coffers so we can't see them, and then they would do something like that. I mean, come on, dude. It was the most pathetic attempt ever by the DA to save the county some money because they're going to get sued now for this.
I didn't advocate for a 21-foot rule, even though that's what the officer said he was trained to do, in that he wanted the individual to move back a certain amount.
He never vocalized that. He never vocalized, said, hey, I want you to move 20, 21 feet back, go back to this line, don't come across this line.
Right.
There was none of that because it happened so fast. I mean, the officer testified it was within like 10 to 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's all on video as well, Your Honor, so I agree that he doesn't give a specific number. And even if he had given a specific number, it's not that specific number is somehow constitutional.
I agree.
The Honorable Michelle.
Yeah, Brady. So I know that what I'm saying is based on the reactions I had on that video of that trial. I'm speaking of how they responded to me after I launched that video, and they were in the comments, and it was just like, oh, we don't like. They felt like they didn't like him, so or they felt that however they felt about him, they felt like he needed to be sent to jail for that, which was insane to me. I'm not saying you said that or anything like that. That's just the response I got in the comment section of that video. Cause I remember when I watched that video, I was in Cambodia at that time.
11, she took a look at the case through the prism of whether I had violated the instruction code of 191.190.197, whatever it was. And so she looked at the case as though, did he obstruct? Did he violate the law? And I think when you did the Pepsi challenge, she said, no, he didn't.
In hindsight, we can look at him and perhaps say, well, he was only here to put this on his YouTube channel. But ultimately, at the time that it's happening, this officer who interacts with him, who even tells him, you're allowed to film, but I need you to continue backing up. I think that's what the reasonableness is. That's what the time-based manner restriction is, not some magical number. And Mr. DeCastro was saying things like calling the officer doggy and whatnot. It's not about that. It's a totality of circumstance which prohibited the officer from being able to safely and adequately conduct the traffic stop. And that's
the stop was already conducted. What do you mean safely conduct the traffic stop? The stop was pretty much finished when the officer started engaging with Chille. Like the stop was over at that point.
Released her. Also, I mean, he gets out of the car. I mean, it appears to me he was going to release her regardless because it was so fast. He said, "You're free to go," and then he went to take care of the other issue.
Yeah, well, I mean, what we have in this particular one is he went and did the records check, and then he mentioned too she was surprised or even confused by the fact that she had an issue with her registration. Exactly. No, yeah, I don't want to be speculating to assume what happened there, but certainly those are the facts that came out of trial. And so ultimately, whether he was going to take her or not, he may have taken her. Obviously, he pulled her over because the system, as he testified, said that there was an issue with her license. But because of the fact that this all went on, perhaps the obstructing was that he didn't feel comfortable, right? It wasn't worth writing this ticket. He already was informed of it so that he could deal with this other situation of this individual who's clearly obstructing with his ability to get to the very end of his investigation, whether he was going to release or whether he was going to write the ticket. But the problem is the impediment is the individual who's continuing to yell and stand a number of
You
people.
could never do that then if all the officer had to do was say, because I had to go deal with this, I couldn't write the citation, right?
I think it's time, place, and manner specific, though. In this particular case, when you watch the video, I think he is that much of a problem that this officer ended up talking to him more.
So this judge is addressing everything like a normal person would, or a person with sense and an idea of the rights and everything involved in the situation. I think this judge is addressing it just like most people would. Like, okay, he didn't do anything wrong, and when he was, or if the situation was what it was supposed to be, the officer should have just said this or did this, but that's not what he did. He ended up taking a man to jail for nothing. And this man ended up going to court with a judge who decided to convict him of some BS, which it's just so messed up that somebody ended up that this man ended up doing being sentenced to jail for exercising his rights. And the only thing that the judge just made this, the judge in this case made this 10 times worse. But this judge is actually doing it the right way.
But what's the instruction? It's not the word.
And if a judge like this one that we're saying now, if this was the one that judged the case and actually what went on in the case prior to the appeal, then there wouldn't be any appeal right here, because that judge would know, okay, he didn't do anything wrong. No, there's no conviction here. But the previous judge is the one that made the conviction and decided to send him send him to jail, and now open the city up to legal, you know, now Chille has to, now it has been open for him to do a lawsuit, because I'm sure he's definitely going to sue at this point, because for one, not only did that cop falsely arrest him, which is the lawsuit, but that judge also falsely convicted him and sentenced him to 6 months in jail, which he had to serve that jail, a lot of that jail sentence. And of course you're gonna sue for that. You can't get that time back. You can't.
Birds, and it's not the filming. And the officer, to his credit, he said right away, you can film, you just need to back up. You know, and I understand he didn't want him talking to the driver, but it didn't appear to me as though after he was instructed, don't talk to my driver, he didn't talk to her anymore. Is that accurate?
That is accurate, yes.
I kind of had a little inkling that she was going to rule in our favor when she started to tell the DA, but that's not illegal. He didn't break the law. And then when she said that, hey, hold on a minute, he did back up though. The cop asked him to back up, and he did back up. And as you guys know on Team DLZ, I typically don't back up. When the cop tells me to back up, I tell him no, I'm not moving my feet. But in this particular case, so if you guys want to know what the difference was, what I usually do is station myself 14 to 16 feet away. That way when they tell me to back up, I can tell them no, because I'm 15 feet away. On this particular case though, I walked right up to the 10-foot mark. And believe me, I've been doing this for years, so I know where the 10-foot mark is. So when I walked up to the 10-foot mark, he said back up. Then I slowly kind of drifted back 3 or 4 feet and telling him, no, I'm good right where I'm at. But I was slowly drifting back a little bit because I was right on that 10-foot mark. That actually saved me, because then the judge said, no, he did back up, but he did back up. She made that point a few times herself. That made me believe that she was going to rule in our favor.
Yeah, there he says. By the way, the state didn't ask him to sit there. Agnes Lexus asked for a suspended sentence, and Judge Zimmerman decided to give him the maximum. He's been in there 4.5 months for this.
Okay, so this time the court's going to grant the appeal on reverse convictions based on its First Amendment protected conduct, and Norm, you can prepare the order.
Thank you very much, Evan.
Who's to be released from custody?
He'll be released.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Orm's office took every phone call I ever called. If I called and left a message, they fulfilled the message request before I called back the second time. So if you're looking for an appellate attorney and you're in Nevada, Chris Orm, dude, you are my Quan, you are my brother. Thank you so much. And I'm still in jail. It's going to take 8 to 12 hours at least to process me out. I may be here till tomorrow morning. I've seen people stuck in this jail for 30, 35 hours even after they're released. So I don't know if that'll happen for me. I hope I'm out tonight, but I'm not sure. For the members of Team DLZ, the faithful who've been with me the whole time, it's going to take me a couple days before I'm able to do a live stream. My front left tooth is broken in half. So I look like the Mad Magazine picture if you are old enough to remember the Mad Magazine cover. I'm missing a tooth in the front. I need a couple days to kind of let my head clear from this fog, this nightmare that I've been in. I need a solid 24 hours of rest. I need to sleep. I didn't sleep at all last night. Every 30 minutes I woke up. I finally got about 3 hours of sleep, waking up every 30 minutes before I get to the appeal. For Team DLZ and the people who are on the side of justice and transparency, look, I've been done wrong. But I tell you what, other than getting retribution through the legal system and making sure that we hold the people accountable who cheated me, I'm not going to take any bitterness or resentment outside of these walls. I'm going to chase down justice with all my might, but I'm going to shake this shit off my shoes, and I'm going to step back into the world and go right back to what I was doing. I'm not going to stop. We don't stop. We don't quit. We never back down. We never surrender. We keep going. And just so you know, I am sorry I called that bailiff a pig. I shouldn't have called the bailiff a pig in court. I set a bad example for other people, and you shouldn't do it. I'm sorry to my family for doing that. I shouldn't have done that. My family wasn't proud of me for calling the bailiff a pig in court. My friends weren't proud of me.
And that's what I think, that's part of what got him that sentence, and it's based on what he said about the judges, how the judge felt about that bailiff or whatever.
My relatives, my cousins, my brothers, my sisters.
You know, and that's one thing about Chille. That's what makes him not likable in a sense, and a lot of people don't like dealing with him because the way he goes about conducting himself. But you cannot like somebody and know whether they're in the right or whether they're right or wrong.
They were not proud of me for doing that, so I am sorry for that. But that doesn't mean I should have been thrown in a dungeon for 4 months, and that's what happened to me. So today's the day we celebrate. Thank you for your support. I love you all. I'll see you on the outside. See you on the next one. Later, Gators.
Yeah, it was amazing for me to see that case. And this was it right here.
For basically filming it. This was, but from what I saw, and you know, this was the trial for that, and I didn't see the entire trial, but from what I saw, it seemed like they were being biased from the jump, just in the beginning part of this. So I'm gonna review this. I'm gonna review this trial with y'all, and you know, we can have a conversation about it in the chat. Hey, what's up, Brady? With the judge and everybody. So I think, matter of fact, before we look at the trial, I think it's better that we see the initial stop that caused it. Let's look at that first. So we can get an idea of what actually caused this issue. Gonna take, when people are like, oh, take the ride, just take the ride. No, they show it during the case. So, and be terrified that this can.
Good morning, Agnes Botello.
Are you Mr. DeCastro? Can you turn off the phone, please? The one that's in your hand.
Just communicating with my lawyer. He's on his way here now. I'm just waiting for him to get
All right, I'm gonna wait for your attorney, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Jose DeCastro.
So, before we get started, they did not allow him to represent himself, which, I mean, you should have that option. I wouldn't recommend representing myself or somebody representing themselves, but you do have that option, which he didn't have that option because I think she forced him to.
Castro, 23 Sierra.
Hold on, Superhuman. You saying just look at the fact Chille is a grifting comment and should be tossed to the wind? I mean, he was falsely convicted and sent to jail for exercising his rights. You know, that's the only thing that happened here, and that's why that the judge in the appealed everything and wiped everything from his record, because he did nothing wrong in that situation. And that's the thing. It's like, you can feel how you want to feel about Chille, which I wasn't a fan of Chille, and I wasn't somebody who agreed with everything that he did. You know, I didn't like the way that he addressed people. Sometimes when it just seems like he was doing too much that didn't need to be done. But the fact that he was convicted and sent to jail for 6 months just because of hurt feelings and hurt ego and bruised ego, that's the only reason why he was sent to jail, which is insane to me.
Roger, 13015.
Good morning, Your Honor. Agnes Botello of the State for the record. Good morning, State.
Good morning, Michael. Me on behalf of the defendant present with me this morning.
So I have signed 2 media requests that permit recording or photographing these proceedings, but I have not granted any other requests to record or live stream these proceedings. So I need Mr. DeCastro and everybody else who wants to stay in the courtroom to surrender their phones. Or you can leave.
Look how
you have to understand that the majority of auditors on YouTube are working for the controllers to push the citizens versus police narrative. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know any YouTubers who are working towards we're gonna push citizens versus police narrative. All I know is that there are people who just don't like when their rights are disrespected or not respected. You believe, he said, I believe the whole Chille thing was planned government operation. There are way too many eyes on this for it to play out like it did. I don't know what do you mean by that? What are you saying? And I'm trying to see what secret narrative do you have to where you have people who are trying to just push, oh, let's be against, you got people that want to have a battle between people and the police. That doesn't make sense to me. So, I don't know what you mean by that.
look how she just shut down the First Amendment right there because she knows she about to do some underhanded stuff. I'm glad we do have some type of video for this, but the honorable and Zimmerman. Oh no, we know about that Zimmerman name.
I need Mr. DeCastro to empty all of his pockets.
What's that?
Empty
Empty
your
your
pockets
pockets and give up your phones to the judge. I have to give you my phones?
Crazy.
Yeah.
My phones have to be completely off.
I don't really want to be part of your YouTube channel. So,
You already are.
great.
You already are.
Awesome.
I'm not gonna get into this guy though.
So it's crazy. The judge said she didn't want to be on his channel or whatever, which is insane that a judge would say something like that. And for it to be a judge who you're a public servant at that time, if you're a public servant, you know that everything is open to the public. So for you to act this way, you should know. And there's somebody recording. You have a recorder. Like everything is public record at this point. What are you talking about? You don't want to be on somebody's channel.
I'm getting something else.
No.
So the judge just said she doesn't want to be a part of the YouTube channel, but the judge is a public servant. This is what.
Well, I just said that, but
this whole thing is about. They are public servants. Why don't they know that?
No, they're gonna go to my marshal.
He's a pig.
Excuse me?
I said he's a pig.
Okay.
that's one thing that got him convicted right there, or that's what got her to sentence him to 6 months in jail for him saying that right there, which is okay. He probably shouldn't have said that, but it's nothing against what he said. Like the cop snatched the phone out of his hand and he said something in regards to that, which, I mean, it's not a big deal in my opinion.
So I'm not gonna permit you to speak to anybody in my courtroom in that manner. And if you don't want to apologize, I'm gonna hold you in contempt.
I apologize.
So she's gonna hold him in like this is the part that I started like within.
That's why I couldn't. It just had me so frustrated watching this case and hearing them say all of this crazy.
In the first 2 minutes, it's just starting off crazy. She's gonna hold him in contempt because he called the bailiff or whatever a pig. Like, come on now. And if you don't say sorry, I'm gonna hold you in. Like, come on now. What is that? What is that? What is that? That's just her feelings.
That's the court, Your Honor.
No, you can apologize to, they've done nothing to you.
Actually, Your Honor, when you were here, you came over and gave me a directive for no reason, started telling me what to do.
Okay,
I
well,
have all the respect and love for the court. I follow the rule of law all the time.
no, it is their job to maintain the safety and security of the court.
I agree with you, Your Honor.
So if you want to speak like that in my courtroom, I'm going to hold you in contempt. And if I hold you in contempt, you're going to jail. That is not my wish.
So she is directly capping his free speech. That's what that is. She is trying to regulate and control his free speech. She's doing it right in the courtroom. This is exactly why he films, and that's exactly why we do this in exercising our rights. That this is the exact reason.
Okay?
I wish you good.
All right. So I need you to empty your pockets too. Suit pocket, pants pocket.
This is illegal. This is a violation of my Fourth Amendment.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. I don't have any recording devices on me. What are you talking about?
How about suit jacket?
I don't have anything on me. This is preposterous.
Absolutely.
It really is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's me, your phone too. Oh.
They're recording everything.
This has been absolutely ridiculous. This whole trial, this whole situation is absolutely ridiculous. It shouldn't even, we shouldn't even be here. Chille shouldn't even be here. That's the thing about this, what makes this so amazing. And not amazing, it makes it terrible when you look at things. Like, look how the judge is handling this. What is going on here?
They have a media request.
Right, and I'm not recording anything. Is that your guy here took my phone, so he's on his phone's not on it.
Right.
What is the difference between them recording and him recording? They have a media request. That was her answer to that. How do people get in these positions being so ignorant to the law? Clown show.
No, I'm not gonna take the lawyer's phone. He's an officer of the court. All right, do we have everybody's phones? Are they off? All right, good. All right. All right, this is the time set for the trial of State of Nevada versus Jose DeCastro, 23 CR 01.
Man, this is insane. And I don't know what was going on or what was going through this judge's mind, the way that she was making judgment on this case. Insane. She basically told him to give him or give the court his phone and everything like that. And even after he gives up his phone, she's like, "Oh, you need to just empty your pockets." And I'm like, at that point, why would you need to do all that? And it makes no sense what this judge is doing. And after all of this, this judge hears the cop and his bogus story and still convicts him and gives him 6 months to serve for some BS, which got appealed, and that ruling was over. The judge for the appeal case said, "Oh, the cop shouldn't have never did that anyway," which is basically what the judge in the appeal case is, who should have been right here. Thank you, man. You know, it was just unbelievable what was happening here. And you can see as I'm watching this, I couldn't even believe it as I was watching it.
3015 is state rate receipt.
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
How many witnesses do you have?
Witness Kate 1.
All right, is a defense rate receipt.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I have your request to convert counsel to standby counsel. I'm gonna,
And I agree, she should definitely be in jail for what she did to him. Because she sent an innocent man for exercising his rights. She sent him to jail for 6 months. Knowing the cop was even shown lying or he was lying while he was up there on the stand. And it was just amazing to me that his attorney didn't address any of that.
deny that request. Either you represent him or he should have previously requested a forensic canvas to represent himself. That I just consider that a delay tactic, so that request is denied. Are you ready to proceed? Otherwise, I'm assuming you are.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, will the state please call the first witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Brandon Bork, and he's in the anteroom.
So this whole thing was terrible. And they're about to call up this police officer to say his side of the craziness that he arrested innocent person for is insane. And his story was so shaky that I don't know how that this judge even was okay letting him continue with his story. But it's the fact that Chille's attorney didn't fight this enough. He didn't to me, he didn't do a good job at any point in this. But the attorney he hired for the appeal did an amazing job.
Morning.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please be seated. State your name for the.
He said, I do, but he clearly lied. But yeah, I saw that. I'm gonna play that video too. But I think they play it in this case or on this video. They do play some of it, but I am gonna play it again. Just because it was the whole issue for him being arrested was it just none of this makes sense. I couldn't believe that this happened but it only happened because of damaged egos and people being in positions of power that don't need to be in power at all or have any power or say so.
Record and spell it first and last name, please.
It's Brandon Bork. Brandon is
What's up, John?
B-R-A-N.
So he just swore to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Let's see if he does that.
Yeah.
D-E-N. Bork. B-O-U-R-Q-U-E.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Sir, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Sir, how are you employed?
I'm a police officer with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
How long have you been employed with Metro?
Just over 8 years.
What is your what's your occupation there? Like, where are you assigned?
I currently am a field training officer at Summer Area Command.
Okay. And so, are you a patrol officer?
Yes,
That also trains newer officers.
yes.
Were you employed with Metro? I'm assuming you are, because you've been employed for 8 years. Back on March 15th of 2023.
Yes, I was.
Were you a patrol officer at that time?
Yes, I was.
As a patrol officer, do you wear a uniform?
Yes, I do.
Can you describe the uniform?
It would be the same uniform I'm wearing today.
Okay, and so for the record, you're wearing a tan uniform with the logos, lots like biggest metropolitan police department located throughout your shirt.
Yes.
As a patrol officer, do you have access to or utilize a marked patrol vehicle?
Yes.
And can you describe what this marked patrol vehicle looks like?
It's black and white in color and it has the LVMPD's logo on all sides.
Okay. And is it also equipped with like lights and sirens?
Yes.
And so you were employed as a patrol officer back on March 15th of 2023?
Yes.
At some point in time, did you conduct a traffic stop while you were working in that capacity?
Yes, I did.
On that base?
Yes.
And was that for a vehicle bearing license plate 748Z, like zebra, T like Tom, B like boy?
Yes.
And why did you stop that vehicle?
I had conducted a DMV records check on that license plate and it came back expired and suspended.
And where is it that you stopped that vehicle?
It was 4155 South Grand Canyon, which was their target.
Okay. Is that over on Flamingo and Grand Canyon?
Yes.
Okay, and that's here in Las Vegas, Clark County, Nevada, sir?
Yes.
And you indicated it was for a license plate that was expired and suspended?
Yes.
So when you initiated the traffic stop, what did you do or how did you do that?
I approached the driver, let her know the reason for the stop, to obtain her identifying information.
Yeah, New Jack Press. That the judge in this case, or the judge that was judging this day, cared nothing about our rights or anything. It was all about ego, and that's all I can say. That's all I think was ego and feelings. That's all that was going on right here. And you're gonna obviously hear him lie.
Registration insurance.
Okay, and I forgot to ask you earlier, but pursuant to your uniform and as a patrol officer, are you equipped with a body worn camera?
Yes, I am.
And you also have a radio?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And are those items, both the body worn camera and the radio, on your uniform today?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And is that how the body worn camera and or the radio were on your uniform back on March 15th of 2023?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, was your body worn camera functioning at that time?
Yes, it was functioning.
Okay. And so you made contact with the driver of that Hyundai?
Yes, I did.
How would you characterize the nature of your encounter? The nature of your encounter with that driver?
She was cooperative with me. I explained the reason for the stop. She seemed confused, not sure exactly how it had become suspended, but she was friendly and cooperative.
Okay, and she identified herself?
She did. She got a picture of her license on her phone.
Okay. And at some point, sir, did you go back to your patrol vehicle to further your investigation?
I did.
And as you were, let me ask you this. When you effectuated the traffic stop on this vehicle, where did you park or stop your vehicle in relation to the Hyundai that you were stopping?
I parked approximately 10-15 feet behind the stop vehicle. We ended up in a parking lot.
Okay. And was the driver the sole occupant of the vehicle?
Yes.
And so when you returned to your patrol vehicle to conduct your further investigation, was the driver within eyesight?
Yes, she was.
Okay. And is it your habit and custom and also your training to keep the individual that you are, dealing with within eyesight?
Yes.
And so at some point while you were still in your vehicle, in your patrol vehicle, did something occur that's causing you to have to testify before Judge Zimmerman today?
Yes, I had an unrelated person come over to start recording the traffic stop.
Okay. And we talked about your body worn camera previously, but did you activate?
Yeah. And Zimmerman is a terrible judge.
And we talked about your body worn camera previously, but did you activate your body worn camera prior to the traffic stop?
Yes, I did.
Or, you know, just before you initiated the traffic stop?
I initiated. Activation button, which is
That is not even important. Why is she asking questions like that? How do you activate your body cam? You turn it on. What does it have to do with this case at all?
Okay, and so is it just a tap of that activation button?
It's a double tap on the front. Yes.
Okay, and how is it that you would stop recording?
I would hold down that same power button.
Okay.
Or it can be turned off. There's a toggle switch on the top that slides on and off.
Okay. Okay, and so your body worn camera was running as of, you know, the traffic stop being initiated?
Yes.
Okay. And so you described an unrelated individual coming over to, you know, your stop.
Yes.
Okay, can you describe this individual?
He was a white male adult. He was wearing bright colored hoodie and blue jeans.
That individual, do you see him here in court today?
Yes, I do.
Can you please point to him and describe something he's wearing?
He's wearing a suit and a blue tie.
Your Honor, please let the record reflect identification of the defendant.
So ordered.
And so what do you do upon seeing this individual approach the driver of the vehicle you had stopped?
Initially, when I saw him, he was just recording. I ignored him, continued my records check. Then when he came over to the driver and started speaking with him, I got out of the car, approached the driver, and
So when he first saw Chille, he saw that he was just recording and he ignored him at that point. Then Chille started talking to the driver, and that's when
told DeCastro to back up.
Okay.
Then when he came over, he was just recording. I ignored him, continued my records check. Then when he came over to the driver and started speaking with him, I got out of the car, approached the driver, and told DeCastro to back up.
Okay. When you first noticed, so you identified the unknown or unrelated male subsequently, correct?
Yes.
And what was his name?
Jose DeCastro?
Okay. And that's the individual you identified here in court.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you first laid eyes on the defendant, approximately how far away was he from the driver of the vehicle in the Hyundai?
Approximately somewhere within 5 to 10 feet.
Okay. And you indicated that he was recording?
Yes.
Okay. What did you see that led you to believe he was recording?
He had his cell phone camera pointed directly at me.
Okay. And so is that when, upon seeing him being that close to the driver, is that when you told him, you walked up to the driver of the stopped vehicle and asked Mr. DeCastro to back up?
Yes, once he started talking with the driver.
Okay. And why is it that you did that, officer?
Well, I can't have unrelated people next to my traffic stops. I don't know if he's a dangerous person, armed. He could be a boyfriend of the stopped person. It's for my safety and the safety of the person I've stopped.
Okay. Because you're also in charge of the safety of the individual that this unrelated individual is making contact with. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And so you saw it as an officer safety issue as well as a safety issue for the driver.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you approached, well, you said he was recording, the defendant was recording. At any time, did you tell him to stop recording?
No, in fact, I told him he can continue recording.
Okay. He can continue to record given what?
As long as he backed up and gave me an appropriate distance to work.
Okay. And so when you asked the defendant to back up, did he follow your order?
No, he did not.
So y'all listen to this carefully.
I gave him 3, he did not.
When you asked the defendant to back up, did he follow your order?
No.
When you asked the defendant to back up, did he follow your order? He says, No, he did not.
And so what did you do next?
I gave him 3 additional warnings to back up.
Okay, and did he obey those orders?
No, he did not.
And what, if anything, did you do with the driver of the stopped vehicle, the Hyundai?
At that point, I chose to release the driver of the Hyundai and then focus my attention on.
So at that point, he chose to release the driver, let the driver go.
Jose DeCastro.
Okay.
So that's where the bullshit started off. Because for one, he did back up. And for two, if the issue was him, if you say he can keep recording as long as he backs up, so why did you arrest him? He already backed up. He wasn't even close to begin with. He was at least 10 feet from the start of this. So you want him to be back another 10 feet? That reminds me of this video that I have up with this cop in Miami telling me to back up 10 feet. And I tell him I'm more than 10 feet. And then he says, oh, well, 10 more feet, just 10 more feet. And at that point, I wasn't moving no more. But it's just ridiculous. The whole point of this arrest is because this cop got his feelings hurt and his ego was bruised. That's the whole reason for this. If you listen to this, it still doesn't make sense right now. So you're saying that he didn't back up, but he did back up. And if somebody walks up to you and then tells you to back up, you don't have to back up at that point. They walked up to you. So that's why I don't understand. Why do they feel like they can walk up to you and then tell you to back up?
What's up, Captain? Yeah, man, this is insane. I just couldn't understand what was going on. And this officer,
if somebody doesn't approach you, but you approach them and then you tell them to back up, what sense does that make?
And for the record, officer, at that point in time, were you the only uniformed officer, the only officer, as well as the
driver leave? So the driver's not there no more. It's just him and his hurt feelings at that point. There's nothing's going on here anymore. The driver left, the stop is over, but the cop is here escalating this situation because of his ego and his hurt feelings. And how the judge ruled in the favor of this cop doing that is disgusting. And it makes no sense. And I don't know how she's allowed to continue doing that when that's obvious bias and she's not following the law.
Visual and having to make contact or maintain visual both.
Yes.
And at that point, the defendant was not being cooperative.
Correct, yes.
Okay. So you release the driver of the Hyundai. What do you tell that person to let her go?
I just said that she was free to go, simply.
And subsequently, did you turn your attention on the defendant?
Yes.
And can you tell Judge Zimmerman the nature of your interaction with the defendant after that?
I ordered DeCastro to the front of my patrol vehicle while pointing at it and told him to use the taser.
And what was the purpose of detaining him?
For obstructing my initial traffic stop at the Hyundai.
Okay. And did he obey your lawful order?
No, he did not.
And what happened next?
He continued filming me and continued pointing toward my patrol vehicle, continued telling me he was detained. All the while, he just continued shifting his body around, recording me on the phone, and refusing to go to the car.
Okay. So what did you do in response?
I used my hand to escort him to the patrol vehicle. So I placed my hand on his shoulder, and at that point, he swatted my hand away.
And what happened next?
That's when I grabbed him by the shirt, and I spun him around, and then we ended up at the front of my patrol vehicle. We were all still standing.
At some point, did you request additional units to respond to the scene?
I did. That was before I grabbed him,
Okay.
when I initially detained him.
Okay. And, I'm sorry, once you had him at your patrol vehicle, the front, the hood of your patrol vehicle, what happened next?
Officer Dingley, another officer in the area, had arrived, and he came over to help me.
And were you successful, or did the defendant cooperate in being handcuffed?
He did not cooperate. I told him 7 times to face my patrol vehicle. He did not listen. I told him 6 times to turn around. He did not listen. It wasn't until I told him that he was going to go to jail, that was the consequence of not listening, that he allowed us to.
Okay. And after he was handcuffed, but well, when he was handcuffed, was it just you and Officer Dingle present?
Yes.
Once he was handcuffed, what if anything happened next?
He continued to argue with my partners, Officer Dingley and some other officers that were starting to show up. And then I focused my roles in completing the report and calling the sergeant because he requested a supervisor.
Okay. And at some point, was he arrested for account of obstructing a public officer?
Yes.
And also for resisting a public officer or resisting arrest?
Yes.
And was he at any?
All right, I'm gonna just play the actual video of when the arrest was made. It's just insane to me that the way that he would lie about this situation is just crazy to me.
Oh, I see.
What a terrible.
Oh, I see. Oh, gotcha.
You can tell me, you can stay away from my driver. Back up. Back up, I'm gonna detain you.
You're gonna detain me how? In which way?
Get away from my car.
Actually, I'm standing right here. I'm at least 10 feet away, officer. I gotta tell you, I'm a constitutional law scholar. You can do whatever you want. Just understand something. Your name will go on the lawsuit. Mind your own fucking business. Mind your own business. I'm a member of the press. Go get in your car, do your job, little doggy. Go feed her.
You're being detained right now.
Okay, detain her. Oh, oh, you're gonna detain a journalist? 2015, Rodriguez. Ah, don't put your hands on me. Don't touch me. Don't put your fucking hands on me. No, you're not. I gotta make sure you guys get my people on the phone. Oh, this is so you ended the stop, you dunce cap. Did you just end the stop? So that's 2015. No. Bring your supervisor, please. Bring your supervisor, please. Don't touch me. You don't need to put your hands on me. Don't grab me. Don't grab me. You're not. No, first get your supervisor out here. You're not just gonna grab me and throw me on the ground. You've already released her. You've already released her. This is 2015, Rodriguez versus United States. I'll walk right from your car. Let's go. Sure, come on. No. I'm a constitutional law scholar. You can't take away my phone. I'm now.
You're being detained. Now you're gonna put hands on me.
No,
over here.
Why are you grabbing me?
Come over here.
Sure.
Over here. I don't care about the
Why are you
phone.
grabbing
Turn
me?
around.
I'm a
Turn
member of
around.
the press.
Turn around.
I'm not doing
You're being
anything. I'm not doing
detained.
anything.
Turn around. Stop.
Are your cameras on? Are your cameras on?
All right, y'all. As you can see, that's the video of him getting arrested for basically not doing anything but hurting his cop's feelings or hurting his ego. And because he didn't appease the ego of this cop, the cop decided, okay, I'm going to arrest this guy. And he ended up going to jail for that. And y'all see the trial. It's insane. But it's a great thing that he filed for that appeal, and he got a judge that actually knew what was going on in the appeal. Yeah, man, the way they did him was so messed up. It was wrong, and everybody who was happy with that, or that were, it seemed like people was happy to see him go through what he went through. And I couldn't believe that people addressed. I couldn't believe that people were acting like something good happened out of that, or trying to act like Chille did something wrong in that situation. He didn't do anything wrong. The cop says it over and over again how much Chille didn't do. And the cop was saying, oh, well, when I first saw him, I thought, oh, he just filming, so that's okay. But when he started talking to the driver, that's when I had an issue, and I decided to get out the car. And when he got out the car, he decided, okay, I'm gonna tell this citizen who is well within their rights to move back. Chille did move back, which y'all heard him in the case say, oh, when I ordered for him to step back, he didn't listen to me. He said no. But when Chille's attorney asked him about that, he said, well, he did back up. It was just a couple of steps though. It was just so much going on in this case. But I'm just glad that he filed for that appeal, and he got a judge that actually was the justice according to the law. But yeah, so that's the case, y'all. They finally let him go, but that was after spending a few months. He was in jail for a few months because of that, but which is insane to me. So this is my book. I'm gonna have it in the description and in the comment section, but the name of it is Eyes on Authority: How to Hold Public Servants Accountable. And from the streets to the screen, documenting the fight for freedom. And you just got to know that you got to exercise your rights and figure out a way to have a record of your interactions and when you're dealing with these public servants, man. It's crazy that we have to rely on that, and we have to. Yeah, man. It's just insane that we have to deal with that, and for public servants to act like we aren't well within our rights, for holding them accountable by recording and just making sure we have a record of that interaction with them is insane. So y'all see in a lot of my videos of me, all I'm doing is holding them accountable to their actions. That's all we're doing. So y'all see the video of him actually being arrested, him going to trial, and then you see the appeal. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Yeah, man. All we're doing is being citizens who want our rights respected. Just like you want your family to be treated well. You want to be treated well, and that's all we're asking for. And we're just and that's why we keep a record of our interactions with these people, because they will say anything. It's crazy how the story switches when you don't have evidence and you don't have an objective record. You have to have an objective record to get any to Captain Killer, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. help out a lot. But and it's a great writing too, man. It's really a great movement. The movement that we're doing is great, but the book itself it's a great read. I wish I had a book like that when I first started doing this, so I could know a little bit better about how to go about this. And that's what, right, you want for your children, and like for your daughter, you want her to grow up in a place where she's going to be respected, and if she's or she gets involved in a situation, you want her to have a record of that situation, or you get in a situation and you want to make sure that she has a record of that situation. We just never know what might happen, and it's like they want us to. It's like they don't want us to have any record of what has taken place, and that's insane. It's insane that they would even think like that. Yeah, man. Yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream. Y'all can go ahead and play it back, and you'll see from the beginning, and you'll get to see the update for the appeal and the judge in that appeal case, and the way that the judge on the appeal treated this was like the judge that judged over this should have acted during the trial, but you can tell it was so much bias, and the judge in it that judged this case and put Chille in jail, you can tell that she had bias and that she just saw everything in a negative, or she saw everything the way that she chose to see it, and it was just wrong. Everything about this was just wrong. But I appreciate everybody for checking out this stream and checking out the playback. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section. But with that being said, AWB, I'm out. All right.